Yo, what's good? So I just caught SportsCenter on ESPN, and the entire panel was absolutely losing their minds about multiple massive and interconnected stories involving the New York Knicks that have fans simultaneously relieved about better-than-expected injury news, while also intrigued by potential roster moves that could address critical depth concern. There's updated seismic reporting emerging that the Knicks could realistically pursue Dallas Mavericks athletic center Daniel Gaffford in what would be a significant trade acquisition that completely addresses New York's backup center deficiencies and provides elite rim protection and lob-catching ability. But before diving deep into that explosive Daniel Gaffford trade speculation, the SportsCenter crew absolutely had to break down the major update on Jalen Brunson's ankle injury, and thankfully it's genuinely good news, or at least as good as can reasonably be expected right now, given the circumstance. Hey, what's up everyone? Before we jump into this massive Knicks news, I just want to ask you for a quick favor that would mean the world to me. If you could just take 1 second right now and hit that like button, it would be incredibly important to me and helps this channel grow so much. I know it seems like a small thing, but those likes genuinely make a huge difference in getting this content out to more Knicks fans who need to stay updated on everything happening with this team. So seriously, just tap that like button real quick. It literally takes 1 second and it helps me out more than you know. From the absolute moment Jalen Brunson went down last night with that gruesome-looking ankle injury against the Orlando Magic, everyone watching had the exact same question racing through their mind. How serious is this injury? And how long will Jalen Brunson realistically be sidelined for? Well, thankfully, respected ESPN insider Shams Charania finally has these critical updates for the anxious Knicks fanbase. According to Shams's reporting, New York Knicks superstar point guard Jalen Brunson sustained a grade 1 right ankle sprain and will definitely miss Friday's upcoming game against the Miami Heat. Jalen Brunson will be evaluated on a daily basis moving forward to monitor his recovery progress. According to medical experts and New York basketball sources, a grade 1 sprain is genuinely considered mild in terms of ankle injury severity. By the way, real quick, if you're a Knicks fan, check out this insane Knicks cap popping up on the screen right now. It just went on sale until the end of this week, so this is the perfect time to grab yours. And right below, you'll also find other official Knicks products that are absolutely insane. Just click the card that just appeared. Now, let's get back to the video. With typical recovery time ranging anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks in most cases, depending on the individual's healing response. On top of this encouraging initial diagnosis, the panel has additional follow-up reporting from the Athletic's respected injury analyst James L. Edwards on this developing situation. According to Edwards's medical analysis, grade 1 is absolutely the lowest severity classification of ankle sprains possible. For those who may be unaware of injury terminology, typical recovery time averages anywhere from approximately 4 or 5 days on the absolute quickest end to roughly 3 weeks on the longer end of the recovery spectrum. You never want to see any player go down with any type of injury regardless of severity. Injuries are just part of the unfortunate reality of professional basketball. But if a player is going to be injured anyway through the physical nature of the game, this grade 1 sprain diagnosis represents the absolute best-case scenario possible given the circumstances. It's only a grade 1 sprain, so most likely Brunson recovers within approximately 1 week of rest and treatment. Then when you factor in rehabilitation work and getting back into proper game shape and conditioning, maybe the realistic timeline is closer to 2 full weeks before he's back on the court. But 2 weeks is genuinely a lot better and more manageable than some people were initially anticipating and fearing, because the way that ankle rolled and twisted last night looked absolutely horrific and severe in real time. Remember that Jalen Brunson left Madison Square Garden last night on crutches while wearing a protective walking boot, which are obviously very concerning visual indicators for any injury. Anytime you see a player leaving the arena on crutches and in a boot, your immediate assumption is naturally going to be that the injury is quite severe and potentially season-threatening. The fact that upon further medical examination and MRI imaging, it's only a grade 1 sprain and he's likely only going to miss approximately 2 weeks of action, that genuinely is the absolute best-case scenario for the New York organization, because you genuinely never know with these ankle injuries. It could have been dramatically worse. Brunson could have potentially missed 6+ weeks or even months with a high-grade sprain or fracture. Thankfully, that catastrophic scenario is absolutely not the case here. New York just has to survive and maintain their winning ways without Jalen Brunson for approximately 2 weeks, which is admittedly a lot easier said than actually done in practice. But last season, when Brunson missed about 15 games with a previous ankle injury, the Knicks were able to still get the job done and maintain a winning record during his absence. If they were able to accomplish that last time with a less talented roster that wasn't being utilized as effectively by the coaching staff, then this current Knicks team should theoretically be able to weather this storm. This time around, the roster is even more stacked with talent and depth, and head coach Mike Brown is utilizing everybody on the roster that he possibly can in his rotation. If that's genuinely the case, then maybe this Knicks team will be able to successfully weather the storm without Jalen Brunson as part of the starting lineup for these 2 weeks. But they're absolutely going to have to play together cohesively, lock in defensively, and maintain focus like they've never done before in Brunson's absence. Missing a player of Jalen Brunson's caliber and importance, you simply cannot directly replace what Brunson provides to this team. However, you can definitely do some strategic things that make life a little bit easier and more manageable without Jalen Brunson running the offense. One of those critical things is elevating a point guard already on this roster to potentially a starting role, or at minimum, getting consistent, meaningful minutes off the bench. The Sports Center panel thinks everyone knows exactly who they're talking about here. It's Tyler Kolek time, finally. That's absolutely right. Tyler Kolek has been playing with the Westchester Knicks in the G League and then being recalled back by the New York Knicks to join their NBA team periodically. The likely reason the organization has been doing that yo-yo roster movement is primarily for practice purposes to keep Kolek engaged and developing. But now the Knicks aren't just practicing anymore. They genuinely need healthy body, and they desperately need a legitimate backup point guard option. All due respect to Miles "Deuce" McBride, who's most likely going to start in Jalen Brunson's absence based on conventional wisdom, but in the panel's opinion, Deuce should not necessarily be the one starting if you want to maximize roster effectiveness. The analysts know McBride can play some point guard duties, they know he's a talented combo guard, and they know his assist numbers are legitimately up this season, showing improvement. So Deuce has done a better job facilitating this year. The crew will absolutely give him credit for that development. But even though that's the case, and McBride has improved his playmaking, he is still not a traditional pure point guard in the classical sense. That traditional point guard role belongs to Tyler Kolek, who operates as a true floor general. If you don't want to mess up and disrupt the bench unit's chemistry and effectiveness, the only logical way to accomplish that is to add somebody else to the starting lineup, who really doesn't typically play with the bench unit anyway. What player could that potentially be? Well, you have a couple of realistic options available. You could go with Kevin McCullough Jr. as a defensive-minded wing. Sure, that's an option. You could potentially go with Ariel Hukporti at center, although that doesn't give you another point guard facilitator. But sure, that's technically possible. Or you can go the most sensible and logical direction. Tyler Kolek must be elevated to the Knicks' backup point guard role because in reality, he's the only legitimate backup point guard that the Knicks currently have on their roster. You can talk about all the various combo guards on this team until you're blue in the face having that semantic debate. Combo guard versus traditional point guard. Which archetype do you genuinely want replacing Jalen Brunson in the starting lineup for 2 weeks? The Sports Center crew thinks they'll take the traditional point guard every single time because he's going to properly set up the offense with his court vision and decision-making. He is going to move the ball and keep it flowing. The Tyler Kolek that the panel has been observing in limited opportunities is more aggressive than expected. He's attacking the basket, which is exactly what you want to see with this particular starting lineup composition. The constant ball movement that's been the hallmark of the Knicks' success. They desperately need that to continue. If Jalen Brunson is not there orchestrating, then go with the other player you have on the roster who also moves the ball exceptionally well. Tyler Kolek can do all of that and more. The only genuine positive that you can possibly extract from Jalen Brunson's unfortunate injury is potentially Tyler Kolek finally getting more substantial minutes and hopefully absolutely shining in those extended opportunities to prove his worth. Either way, this injury situation is genuinely good news for Tyler Kolek's development and playing time, and it's really good news for everybody involved in the organization. Even though Jalen Brunson still has that ankle sprain injury, which is unfortunate, it is absolutely not as severe as everyone initially feared it would be based on how it looked. Hopefully Brunson returns significantly earlier than the 2-week projection, but the panel is not going to hold their breath expecting a miracle recovery. Honestly, the analysts hope Brunson takes his full allotted recovery time, gets all the rest and rehabilitation that he needs, and once he eventually comes back, he is 100% fully healthy with no lingering issues. Do not under any circumstances rush Jalen Brunson back prematurely and risk re-injury. But now, let's transition to the Daniel Gaffford blockbuster trade speculation, because this could provide the Knicks with desperately needed front-court depth. The motivations for the possible trade of Daniel Gaffford, the athletic rim-running center for the Dallas Mavericks, are genuinely complex and involve a strategic combination of salary considerations, performance evaluation, and the team's organizational need to adjust their roster composition according to the Sports Center analysis. There's significant positional saturation at the center spot for Dallas. The Mavericks acquired Daniel Gaffford back in February 2024, but the team already has Derek Lively, who possesses tremendous potential and upside, plus veteran Dwight Powell, in addition to other players who can competently play the center position in small ball lineup. This creates genuine saturation and overcrowding of players in the front court and paint area. Although Daniel Gaffford has demonstrated good performance and production when given opportunities, the Dallas organization may ultimately decide to place more faith and developmental minutes in the younger Derek Lively II and free up valuable rotation space for other positional needs. There's also fascinating contract strategy at play here. Daniel Gaffford signed a contract extension of 3 years worth $54 million back in June 2025. However, the specific terms and structure of that Gaffford contract were deliberately crafted in such a way that he could be traded immediately without restriction, which is quite telling. This strongly suggests that the Mavericks front office may have offered that extension specifically to make Daniel Gaffford a more attractive trade asset with a reasonable medium-term contract, rather than leaving him in the final year of his previous deal, where his trade value would be limited. The Mavericks also have a pressing need to substantially improve their perimeter defense, which has been a glaring weakness, and the potential trade of Daniel Gaffford could be the key to acquiring wing defenders who help address that critical deficiency. The team has been consistently vulnerable to quick penetrating attacks and mid to long-range shooting, so Dallas may need more versatile switchable defenders to complement the offensive firepower of their remaining stars. There's also the reality that Daniel Gaffford may seek a significantly higher salary on his next contract, something in the range of $17 to $20 million annually, which could prove prohibitively expensive for the Mavericks' salary structure. If the organization doesn't want to commit that level of money long-term, trading Daniel Gaffford now would be a strategic way to avoid a potential contentious contract negotiation in the future. For the New York Knicks specifically, acquiring Daniel Gaffford would provide elite athleticism, rim protection, and lob-catching ability that would be perfect alongside Karl Anthony Towns. Daniel Gafford's vertical spacing and pick-and-roll efficiency would beautifully complement the Knicks' offensive system. Gafford's shot blocking and defensive intensity would give New York a legitimate rim protector off the bench when Mitchell Robinson needs rest. So that was the comprehensive Sports Center breakdown of Jalen Brunson's encouraging Grade 1 sprain diagnosis, Tyler Kolek's golden opportunity, plus the explosive Daniel Gaffford trade speculation.